Karen tried to destroy my son's career and told him he'd never be Michael Jordan, so I made her beg for her daughter's future. But that was only the beginning. She said it loud enough for the block to hear. You'll never be like Michael Jordan. My son lowered his chin. Hoops swayed in wind. I stood on our driveway at 319 Larkspur Bend, Oriole Ridge, Colorado. Karen Aldridge, clipboard queen, waved violation forms like flags around kneeling party rappers. 7 candles smeared wax on plates. Ezra's wrists trembled, clutching the new basketball. Neighbors pretended to check mail. The hoop's net glowed white against twilight. Karen's smile was sharp, like a fence. The HOA rulebook was her scripture. Liability, aesthetics, uniformity, reasons piled up. She didn't look at Ezra. I was 50, gray at the edges, older inside. Principal of Juniper Wash Elementary, keeper of lists and futures. Tonight, I was only Ezra's dad. When she said remove it by sunset, Ezra went silent. His birthday jersey crinkled. He traced orange seams like Braille, as if feeling courage there. I felt the spark that bad adults leave in fathers. Small, bright, dangerous. I told Karen we'd talk tomorrow. She called right now tomorrow's deadline. The words tasted like gravel, faith. She left pamphlets littering grass. Ezra's cousin Torin gathered them, eyes hot. Crickets tuned their tiny neighborhood violins. I lifted Ezra's chin. He blinked hard, jaw brave. We took one shot together. The ball kissed backboard, rattled, dropped. Her taillights glowed like warnings. I promised Ezra we'd fix it. I didn't know how. But the promise opened a door in me. Behind it, something patient and sharp waited. Before we continue, please drop a like and comment below with your country and what time it is right now where you're watching. Whether it's sunrise in Australia, midnight in New York, afternoon in Canada, or evening in France, I want to know. Don't just sit back, tell me where in the world you are. Now, let's dive into the story. 20 years have thinned memory's edges, but the sound remains, Ezra's breath catching. Back then, I was new principal, careful, practiced at smiling through storms. Karen chaired the Oriole Ridge Architectural Committee. Her daughter, Livia Aldridge, 8th grader, brilliant, sometimes cruel. Livia's volcano spewed glitter, sometimes her laughter did too. I met Karen at orientation, where she corrected my greeting order. She believed hierarchy moral. Rules, to her, were kindness delivered without apology or cushioning. Our HOA printed tidy newsletters, fruit emojis beside fines, kindness wrapped around threats. I paid dues like everyone, mowing lines straight. Kept my head bowed. Ezra worshipped backboards the way other kids worship dragons. He used masking tape squares on the garage door. For his 7th birthday, my brothers pooled money together. The hoop arrived with a ribbon. Ezra's friends shouted, shooting until sparrows abandoned eaves. Karen's SUV rolled up like a storm, windows sealed, judgment humming inside. She stepped out, measured distance from sidewalk with her shoe. Photographed my fence. Announced violation codes like scripture verses. Ezra's eyes followed every spoken number. It wasn't only the hoop. She'd ticketed chalk drawings, lemonade tables, a rescued mutt. She believed childhood was a mess polished flat with bleach, forever. I told her I'd appeal to the board. She said the board answered to standards, and standards answered to Karen. Her smile kept perfect time. When she said Ezra would never be Michael Jordan, something set. Not rage, a ledger. A plan wrote itself, stern cursive, along the walls inside. I spent the night replaying Ezra's silence. I've broken bones, survived winters, but nothing hurt like my boy folding himself into shadows that birthday night. Morning came with coffee scalding my tongue. I drove to Juniper Wash Elementary, where banners for graduation week curled in hallways. Pomp and circumstance waited in boxes. I knew every child's name in that school. They weren't just students, they were stories in pencil. Each deserved their day of sunlight. But one folder on my desk carried a familiar surname, Livia Aldridge. Honors student. Debate captain. Mother's ambition sharpened through her like glass through sunlight. Karen wanted perfection on lawns, banners, and now her daughter's stage walk. She bragged about Livia's speech weeks ago, telling neighbors before committee votes were counted. I thought of Ezra tracing orange seams, hearing "You'll never be Jordan." I thought of 7 candles melting fast. Some balances need unusual scales. During lunch break, I stared at the printed program list. Hundreds of names in order. I lifted my pen. My pulse thudded like footsteps upstairs. One name vanished with a line of ink. Livia Aldrich. The page looked unfinished, as if a hole opened between laughter and applause. I folded the paper, hands shaking. What father denies his son's joy? What principal denies another's? Some lessons come cruel, but balance sometimes demands bitter chalk. As final bell rang, I sealed programs into envelopes. Tomorrow's ceremony would hold silence where applause belonged. My revenge was quiet, waiting for lights to rise. Graduation mornings smelled of carnations and rented robes. Parents filled bleachers, eyes wet with pride. Ezra sat near me, swinging legs, his sadness still folded small. Trumpets echoed. Names rolled like music. Each child took the stage, hands trembling, voices high. Teachers clapped, principals smiled. My clipboard carried one invisible strike. Row by row, dreams walked forward. Parents rose with phones raised. I held my breath. Livia's row stood. Karen leaned forward, camera ready, mouth rehearsed for cheering. But the announcer skipped. Johnson Keller, tittling. No Aldrich. Karen's head jerked. Livia froze, eyes wide, searching paper, searching me. Silence broke into murmurs like falling rain. Karen's smile cracked into disbelief. She raised her hand as if traffic would stop. Livia's lip trembled. The orchestra stumbled one note, regained rhythm, continued. I felt Ezra's small fingers squeeze mine. His eyes widened. He didn't understand the mechanics, only that balance tilted toward him for once, finally. Karen stormed the stage afterward, voice sharp. How dare you? Paper rustled in her shaking hand. I answered calm. Clerical errors happen. She didn't believe one word. Livia cried in her gown. I felt the twist in my chest. But Ezra's face lit with something new. Justice, however temporary, however fragile. The community buzz spread faster than confetti. Parents whispered. Teachers avoided eye contact. HOA queen dethroned for an afternoon. My revenge walked on 2 feet across stage. But as applause faded, Karen's eyes locked mine. She mouthed a promise. This wasn't finished. Something colder than Colorado wind passed through my spine. Karen showed up at my door the next morning, clipboard missing, eyes wild. She didn't knock, she pounded, rattling glass. Ezra peeked from behind curtains. You humiliated my daughter, she hissed. Her voice cracked between fury and panic. Neighbors slowed their walks, pretending interest in lawns, ears stretched toward our porch. I leaned against the frame, coffee in hand, pretending calm. Maybe now you know how a 7-year-old feels when you crush his birthday dream. Her mouth opened, closed. For once, words failed her. She turned red, muttered threats about lawsuits, boards, districts. I stood steady. Inside, my heart thundered. That afternoon, flyers appeared on every mailbox. HOA emergency meeting tonight. Karen's fingerprints were all over it. My neighbors stared, hungry for spectacle, eager for whispers. Ezra asked, Dad, did I ruin everything? I knelt, smoothing his hair. No, son. Sometimes adults need reminding what fairness looks like. That's all. The meeting hall swelled with voices. Karen took the podium, declaring injustice. She painted me as reckless principal, unfit neighbor, danger to the neighborhood's fragile harmony. I sat front row, arms folded. Every word was venom disguised as order. I saw nods, frowns. She had influence. For a moment I doubted myself. But then Torin stood. 12 years old, fearless. Karen hates kids having fun. His voice cracked, but it spread. Other parents muttered. Seeds of rebellion stirred. Karen's eyes blazed. She pointed at me. This ends tonight. Her fingers shook with rage. The board shuffled papers nervously. A storm was about to break. The board voted to review my conduct. HOA fines doubled overnight. Letters piled on my porch. Each envelope smelled like Karen's perfume of authority. I paid none. Instead, I photocopied every page, filing them in a binder. Evidence of obsession. Ezra watched me work, whispering, "Are we losing, Dad?" "No," I said. "We're waiting." Revenge, like winter, arrives slow. You don't chase it, you endure it until the other side feels frostbite stronger than you. Karen escalated. Contractors arrived to measure setbacks. Anonymous complaints about trash cans and weeds appeared. HOA turned from community to courtroom. Ezra's hoop leaned, and used. Inside the school, whispers followed me. Teachers asked cautiously. Parents avoided eye contact. Yet the students, my students, still smiled, still trusted me. That faith kept me standing. One evening, Ezra asked if he could shoot one last basket before bed. The ball arced beautifully, kissed the rim, rolled away into darkness. Karen appeared across the street, arms crossed, watching. She called out, "Still clinging to failure?" Her voice cut through twilight. Ezra dropped the ball, shoulders shaking. I walked across lawn, calm, deliberate. "Be careful," I said softly. "Some failures echo louder than you expect." She laughed, but her eyes flickered. That night, I couldn't sleep. I wrote Livia's name back into the program in my journal. Guilt wrestled revenge. Which father was I becoming? At dawn, a knock rattled door again. This time softer. Karen's voice cracked through wood. "Please. We need to talk." My grip tightened around Ezra's basketball. Her knock was timid this time, stripped of authority. I opened the door. Karen stood pale, eyes rimmed red. No clipboard, no armor, just desperation. "My daughter," she whispered. "Livia can't sleep. She keeps asking why her name wasn't called. Please, please fix this. Don't punish her for my mistakes." Ezra watched from the staircase. His small hand clutched the railing. His eyes were oceans, hurt, confused, curious. He saw power shift for the first time. Karen dropped to her knees right there on my porch, gravel pressing her skin. "I'm begging you," she said. "Don't destroy her future over me." For a second, I saw not the tyrant, but a mother. The mask slipped. Behind it, fear. The same fear I carried for Ezra. I wanted to slam the door. I wanted to remind her of Jordan, of candles blown out with tears. But something heavier settled in my chest. "You crush children every day," I told her. "Chalk drawings, birthday hoops, lemonade stands. You called it order. Now you understand what destruction feels like." Her shoulders shook. Her voice cracked. "I'll stop. No more fines, no more rules against kids. Please, just let Livia graduate." She worked for this moment. Ezra whispered, "Dad, can we forgive?" His words pierced sharper than Karen's. Sometimes children hold the compass parents lose. I swallowed hard, heart twisting. I told her nothing then, just closed the door. But inside, war raged, revenge against compassion. Tomorrow's stage lights would decide which man I truly was. Graduation day's encore arrived. The gym smelled of sweat and carnations again. I carried the program list in my pocket, its weight heavier than stone. Karen sat trembling in the crowd, gripping Livia's hand. The girl's eyes darted like trapped sparrows. Ezra sat beside me, bouncing his basketball under bleachers. One by one, names rose into air. Parents clapped, phones glowed. I held my breath. The announcer neared the letter A. I felt sweat trickle down spine. Livia's turn came. This time, her name rang out clear. Applause burst like thunder. Relief poured across Karen's face. Tears streaked her cheeks without shame. Ezra leaned close. "You did the right thing, Dad." His whisper was warm, steady. My throat tightened. Maybe revenge wasn't about punishment. It was about choice. Karen found me afterward. She didn't gloat, didn't smile. Just nodded once, lips pressed tight. She knew mercy had been granted, but debt still lingered. Neighbors whispered. Some called me weak, others saint. I felt neither. I felt human, caught between justice and compassion, where choices leave scars deeper than punishments. Ezra hugged me tighter that night, sleeping beside the basketball hoop we refused to take down. We'll play tomorrow, he mumbled. Hope finally cracked his sadness. But as moon rose, headlights swept my lawn. A car idled outside. Papers fluttered against doorframe. Another notice, another threat. Karen wasn't finished, not entirely. When I opened the envelope, the words froze me. HOA board seeking my removal as principal, citing moral concerns. This wasn't Mercy's end. It was war. The notice cut deeper than any fine. They weren't after my lawn anymore. They were after my life, my work, my reputation. Karen's fingerprints everywhere. I sat awake that night, binder of evidence spread across kitchen table. Every ticket, every threat, every photo she'd taken of children playing. Proof of obsession. Ezra shuffled down in pajamas, rubbing his eyes. Are they taking you away, Dad? His voice trembled. I pulled him close. Not while I'm standing. Next day, school board meeting. Karen arrived in tailored blazer, voice sharp as glass. She spun tales of misconduct, vengeance, instability. Her words coiled like snakes. I answered calm. I am principal, yes. But I'm also a father. This began with a basketball hoop and a child's broken dream. Gasps echoed. I slid binder across table. Pages spilled evidence of harassment. Neighbors' signatures followed, Torin's testimony included. Karen's power cracked under weight of her own record. One board member asked, "Did you really remove her daughter's name?" I nodded. For a day. Because justice sometimes needs sharp edges before it softens. Karen's composure shattered. She shouted about respect, rules, uniformity. But her voice rang hollow. The board saw a tyrant disguised as neighbor. Silence crushed her. Decision came swift, investigation closed, charges dropped. But they advised me, revenge must never outweigh fairness again. I nodded, though inside, storm still churned. Ezra smiled. Karen left hall pale, broken crown slipping. But as door slammed, I wondered, was this truly over, or had I simply survived one round? Weeks passed. Summer warmed Colorado skies. Ezra's hoop still stood, net frayed from endless shots. Neighbors no longer whispered, they joined. Driveways filled with laughter, sneakers squeaking. Karen vanished from committee chair. Resigned, they said. Some whispered she moved, others claimed shame kept her inside. Livia returned to school halls, quieter, gentler, older. I carried scars invisible but real. Revenge had tasted sweet, then bitter. Mercy left questions, not answers. Ezra's joy was only constant, light against shadows. One evening, ball thudded across driveway. Ezra grinned. Dad, watch this. He leapt, released. Swish, clean through. He raised fists skyward. Triumph sparkled in twilight. I clapped hard. In his eyes, I saw Michael Jordan's spark, not greatness measured by trophies, but courage rising from being told you'll never be enough. Neighbors cheered too. For the first time, Oreo Ridge felt like community, not courtroom. Even children Karen once silenced painted chalk rainbows freely on sidewalks. Later, I found Karen on porch across street, watching quietly. No clipboard, no power. Just a mother, tired, haunted. She nodded once, wordless. I nodded back. No victory lap, no speech. Just an understanding. We had both lost, both learned, both bent by choices sharper than rules allowed. Ezra called me back. Dad, your turn. I took the ball, shot. Rim rattled, dropped in. Laughter rose. For once, peace outshined vengeance. And so I tell this now, decades later. A hoop, a cruel word, a father's revenge and mercy's test. Sometimes justice begins with children's dreams.